Report back at 6.
On World News tonight, it's a street fight in Baghdad, heavy fighting in some parts of the city. Digging in the rubble. Did the U.S. manage to kill Saddam Hussein? We'll take a closer look at some of what he built to outlast his opponents. And in the other news today, $280 billion in lost taxes. The government can't collect it, or in some cases, even find it.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Good evening, everyone. The war in Iraq is still being fought in many locations, but the war in Iraq tonight is really the fight in Baghdad. The U.S. has been attacking the Iraqi defenders from the ground, in the air, in many places. This is very important. This is a middle-class neighborhood in western Baghdad where the U.S. is watching the Iraqis do the digging, but is very much hoping that Saddam Hussein was killed there yesterday. There's not much more to say at the moment about that. President Bush said today he does not know if Saddam Hussein is dead or alive.
The only thing I can tell you is that grip I used to describe that Saddam had around the throats of the Iraqi people are loosening. I can't tell you if all 10 fingers are off the throat, but finger by finger is coming off.
The U.S. clearly has the initiative in many places, but it has been rough going at times. Southwest of the city, the 101st Airborne took over the headquarters of the Special Republican Guard, which had been seriously bombed before they got there. Once again, success has a lot to do with air power. There are so many statues of Saddam Hussein in Iraq, many people will get a chance to tear one down if they choose to. So from steady progress in the north today to concern about chaos in the south, ABC's John McWethy, who's at the Pentagon, begins the war story tonight. John?
Peter, some very rough street fighting in Baghdad today, and a new clue that perhaps Saddam Hussein this time just might be dead. The battle raged for downtown Baghdad. Tanks crossing bridges, A-10 attack planes ripping buildings used as hiding places for snipers. And for the first time, a close-up view of the enemy. Video shot with Iraqi irregulars, the so-called Fedayeen, urban guerrillas, on the run, harassing American forces in Baghdad. Their clear hatred of President Bush.
You, Bush! You, Bush!
Their clear willingness to suffer terrible losses to keep fighting the invading Americans. And just 3 miles from where U.S. troops are fighting, there is today a huge crater in a quiet residential neighborhood where U.S. officials say they believe Saddam Hussein and his 2 sons were holding a secret meeting in a bunker beneath a restaurant. ABC's Ted Koppel, traveling with U.S. forces in Baghdad, describes an amazing communications intercept that he says led to the airstrikes. Apparently a phone call believed to be the Iraqi leader himself.
The feeling is that they actually heard Saddam Hussein himself talking to some of his advisors about how and when they could get out of the city. The alert immediately went out from the intelligence group to the army here in Baghdad.
A B-1 bomber already in the air was assigned to this priority leadership target, and in 12 minutes the aircraft was over Baghdad. Lieutenant Colonel Fred Swan, interviewed by telephone, was the weapons officer on the plane.
What I was thinking was, well, this could be the big one. Let's make sure we get it right.
4 2,000-pound bunker busters pulverized half a block.
And hope is now turning to something approaching conviction that they may actually have killed Saddam.
That is still being hotly debated as the fighting continues on all sides of Baghdad. The army expanding its hold on downtown. The Marines, after 3 tough days of fighting, finally capturing Rashid Air Base in the southeastern part of the city. U.S. intelligence sources say 5 Iraqi Republican Guard divisions started this war with 850 tanks. They now have 19. Many of their soldiers have disappeared, leaving American troops suspicious of every crowd.
For the most part, they all seem real friendly, but there's been a lot of them that seem friendly and then turn around and try to kill you.
In the next day or two, U.S. officials are saying there will be another offensive on downtown Baghdad, this time led by the Marines. an effort to effectively cut this city in half. Peter?
Thank you, John. John McCarthy at the Pentagon. In Baghdad today, the U.S. Army opened fire on a hotel where Western journalists are staying. The hotel is officially on the military's do not hit list. Richard Engel lives in that hotel for ABC News.
The American tank swiveled its turret, took aim at the Palestine hotel, and fired. The building is home to nearly all of the foreign journalists in Baghdad. The tank shell destroyed 2 rooms on the 14th and 15th floors. 2 journalists were killed, both cameramen, one for the British news agency Reuters, the other for Spanish television. They'd been filming the tanks from their balconies. At least 3 other journalists were injured, 2 critically. The U.S. Army says the tank fired in response to small arms fire and rocket-propelled grenades coming from the hotel. I was at the hotel at the time, and I didn't hear any fire coming from the building. Neither did anyone else. The journalist from Al Jazeera television, who was killed earlier today, died after the U.S. bombed his office on the western side of the Tigris, near the information ministry. At the Palestine Hotel tonight, journalists held a candlelight vigil in honor of those who had died. And nearby, with the air campaign so intense, some Iraqis have taken to sleeping in mosques, hoping they are safe. Richard Engel, ABC News, Baghdad.
So how did it come to be in the last couple of days that a hotel full of journalists was regarded as a legitimate target, and there was a major airstrike in the heart of a well-to-do neighborhood? ABC's Martha Raddatz is in Washington tonight. 2 challenges for the military today, Martha.
Very big challenges, Peter. The Pentagon always says it tries to avoid civilian casualties. But as the battle for Baghdad continues, they seem to be willing to take more risks to get Saddam Hussein and his leadership.
The U.S. made the decision to strike this building in under an hour, despite its location in the heart of a residential neighborhood. The pilot said the precision weapons he used in the attack are usually accurate to within 40 feet.
We want to make sure that we're able to be very precise with our weapons, much like, say, a sniper rifle, where it's a one-shot, one-kill.
While the U.S. saw this as a legitimate leadership target, the Iraqis who live in the neighborhood didn't see it that way at all. My neighbor and my wife died here, said this man. Because of Americans, there are 3 families that are all under the rubble. The decision to fire on the Palestine hotel raises different questions. The hotel is on a no-hit or protected target list because it is filled with foreign and American journalists. But Central Command says the troops fired today in self-defense.
Initial reports indicate that the coalition force operating near the hotel took fire from the lobby of the hotel and returned fire.
But if U.S. troops were being fired at from the lobby, General Brooks was asked, why did they send a tank round into a 15th floor balcony?
I may have misspoken on exactly where the fire came from.
The fire almost certainly wasn't coming from the 15th floor either. That's where the 2 journalists who were killed were working. U.S. troops say they also faced significant enemy fire from a building where Al Jazeera television was working. U.S. troops fired on the building, killing a correspondent. The Pentagon said today, in reference to both these incidents, that journalists have been warned to get out of Baghdad.
War is a dangerous, dangerous business, and you're not safe when you're in a war zone.
The Pentagon did express regret today for the loss of innocent lives, Peter, but they said there were no mistakes made.
Thanks, Martha. Martha Raddatz in Washington. At every level of the U.S. command today, it was said that no one intended to kill the journalists who died today, including the Baghdad correspondent of Al Jazeera, the Middle East television network, which is almost as familiar here as it is in other parts of the world. But as we've said before, millions of Americans see the war from one perspective, and millions of Arabs see it from another. ABC's David Wright reports tonight from Kuwait City.
Al Jazeera broadcast footage of its wounded correspondent being carried to the hospital where he died. The banner at the bottom of the screen referred to Tariq Ayoub as a martyr. His colleague, who survived the bombing, said they were hit because the Americans don't want the world to see the crimes the U.S. is committing against the Iraqi people. The network broadcast an interview with Ayoub's family in Jordan. His mother said, "I hope those who killed my son will lose everything that's dear to them, just as they deprived me of the only thing dear to me.
For Arabs, it will be viewed as an atrocity, a crime, simply a crime.
All the major Arab language networks broadcast U.S. Central Command's denial of responsibility. But all of them are skeptical. On Abu Dhabi TV, a military analyst reconstructed the incident in which Abu Dhabi's Baghdad bureau was also hit. It's clear, he concluded, they were shooting at these offices because they don't want them to broadcast. On the Al Arabiya network,
well, it was a terrible day for the
New Zealand journalist Peter Arnett, who until recently worked for NBC News, said he does not believe the U.S. deliberately targets journalists, but he pointed out that Al Jazeera has been bombed before by the U.S. in Iraq and Afghanistan. This is another setback in the U.S. campaign to win hearts and minds, leaving many in this region to believe the conspiracy theorists. But the U.S. is trying to silence its critics. David Wright, ABC News, Kuwait City.
In northern Iraq today, American and Kurdish forces have been pressing their attack on Iraqi positions near the city of Kirkuk. That's the oil capital of the north. At one point today, Americans and Kurds were forced to retreat from fairly accurate Iraqi artillery. In the southern city of Basra today, the British troops which occupy the place have not been able or chosen to stop the looting. A former Iraqi official told us today that if it ever spread to Baghdad, it could get very much out of hand. It was scenes like this and worse during the uprising in 1991, he said, that made Saddam Hussein's dictatorship appealing to people in favor of order, if not law and order. The U.S. now has a camp for Iraqi prisoners of war in the southern part of the country. The U.S. says it is treating them according to the Geneva Conventions. Here are the casualty figures for today. At least 91 U.S. servicemen and women have been killed so far. 15 are listed as prisoners of war or missing, and 30 British servicemen have been killed. The International Red Cross said today that it has lost count of the civilian deaths and injuries in Baghdad. The Red Cross and the World Health Organization report that hospitals in the city are overwhelmed by the wounded and desperately short of supplies. They are also facing shortages of electricity and of water. So amid all the talk of war in Iraq today, a new audio recording surfaced which may or may not be Osama bin Laden. He, whoever he was calling for Muslims to rise up against the governments of Kuwait and Saudi Arabia, who are supporting the American war effort. ABC's Brian Ross. First of all, do we think it's Osama bin Laden or not?
Well, Peter, the tape did not come through the usual channels, and the quality is very poor, so it's hard to tell if it is his voice. And U.S. officials have told us to be cautious about accepting the fact that it is bin Laden.
But analysts always have something to say when they get a tape.
They're always taking a close look at it. In this case, they're looking also at his words, which don't seem to be much different than they were before the war started.
And what's the message there?
Message is, once again, rise up and attack those Arab countries which support the U.S. and Britain.
And if it is him, they've been disappointed.
They've been disappointed. He said that twice in February, and unlike other tapes, that did not lead this time to any attacks that we know of.
Okay, Brian, thanks very much. Brian Ross, who listens to those tapes all the time for us. When we come back this evening, the U.S. military goes underground to go after Saddam Hussein, searching in Baghdad for the secret bunkers. In other news today, the government fails to collect billions of dollars in taxes. Some of it is certainly your money. And at the end of the broadcast tonight, the portraits of war.
This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. Brought to you by Viagra.
Hey, Bob. Hey. You get a new haircut?
No.
Hey, Bob.
Hey.
Did you lose weight?
Your jacket, Bob?
Nope. What's different? He finally asked his doctor about Viagra. Ready to ask your doctor about Viagra for the first time? Find out if a free sample is right for you. To learn more, visit Viagra.com.
Called the sitter, I walked the dog, and I saw the doctor.
Ask your doctor and see the difference.
Frustrated by itching and flaking? Get the power of 3. Unlike most other medicated shampoos, Neutrogena T-Gel works on all 3 itchy, flaky scalp conditions. Be confident with the one that works on all 3. #1 dermatologist recommended Neutrogena T-Gel.
Once upon a time, a dirty floor meant a lot of work. Not anymore, thanks to America's #1 mopping system, Clorox Ready Mop. Simply squirt, and the special Clorox floor cleaner gets your whole floor sparkling clean. The kind of clean you expect from Clorox. No more buckets, no more filthy water. When you're done, just toss the pad, dirt and all. Works great on wood, too. Clorox Ready Mop, the extraordinary mop in a box from Clorox.
Don't we need broccoli? I think I need a haircut.
Kids who can't wait to go on everyday errands?
How are we on gas?
Here's why. Bank One introduces Disney's Visa Credit Card. The new way to turn your everyday spending into magical Disney rewards. Disney's new Visa Card.
You don't know what I had to do to get here.
Only from Bank One.
Who has time for skincare that doesn't work? Not me. I know what makes my skin firmer.
Rock promises visible results with Protein Lift Daily Moisturizer, proven to visibly lift and firm.
In just 8 weeks.
Rock, we keep our promises.
You bet they do.
Over the years, the Iraqi government has devoted considerable effort to create a network of underground tunnels and bunkers for the protection of its leadership. We're going to take a closer look tonight, just as the U.S. military is doing. Here's ABC's Ned Potter.
When the bombs began to fall on Baghdad, it was deep underground that Saddam Hussein apparently planned to outlast his adversaries.
There is an enormous underground network infrastructure that connects the various functions of his government and allows him enormous safety and security.
Intelligence analysts believe the tunnels crisscross beneath the city from downtown to the airport. The largest bunker, covered by 16 feet of steel and reinforced concrete, cost $70 million to build.
It is entirely built on elastic shock absorbers. When there is an attack from the outside or an earthquake, these shock absorbers actually isolate the shocks.
This man is a Yugoslavian engineer who designed Saddam's main bunker. He says on the first night of the Gulf War 12 years ago, the U.S. tried to destroy it and failed.
All the installations and equipment survived. It only shook from side to side when the 3 cruise missiles hit.
Since then, the U.S. has been hard at work on bunker-busting weapons. When the strike was ordered yesterday, the Air Force was ready with a bomb called a JDAM. A JDAM bunker buster is almost like an arrow with a hardened nose cone so that it plows right into the earth. Analysts say it can penetrate 100 feet of soil and 20 feet of concrete before it goes off.
For the bunkers that we're familiar with in Iraq, we believe that the current technology is probably good enough to crash the bunker in.
If the bombs did their job, the degree of destruction would be so great that the U.S. may never know for sure whom they killed. Ned Potter, ABC News, New York.
And we continue this evening, another big story of this and next week. Nearly $300 billion in missing taxes. The government can't find it.
You never know when you'll need allergy medicine.
You could be outside, inside, in your car, anywhere. Now you can take non-drowsy allergy medicine right when you need it. Announcing quick-dissolving Alavert. New Alavert starts dissolving the instant it touches your tongue, without water. Get prescription-strength, non-drowsy 24-hour relief. Even Claritin can't beat. New quick-dissolving Alavert. Allergy medicine you can take right when you need it,
wherever you are.
In the beginning, I was nervous about other people holding her, or even changing her, and I had to have those pricey diapers. Now, you take her. I know Luvs work great. They cost less, even without coupons. And leaks? I don't worry about leaks. They hold like the Hoover Dam, no matter who holds her. Or hugs her tight. Okay, my turn. Live and learn, and then get Luvs.
Disciplined investing. It's not about following the crowd. At T. Rowe Price, our independent research means we're not deceived by every market ripple, and we don't chase every fad. Over 70% of our mutual funds beat their 3, 5, and 10-year Lipper averages. We have the experience to know what works and the insight to find real opportunity. T. Rowe Price. Invest with confidence.
In the future, everyone's glasses will automatically adjust to changing light and block out harmful UV rays that can damage the eyes. But for those with transitions lenses, the future is already here. Ask your eye care professional, because the danger is real now, and so is the protection. Transitions, right in any light.
Hello? It's Dr. Ross. I have your colon polyp test results. You're fine.
Help stay that way with new Caltrate Colon Health. You may help reduce the risk of recurrent colon polyps, a colon cancer risk factor. Don't wait. Take new Caltrate Colon Health.
Introducing a new overnight laxative, Freelax. These have stimulants that can jolt your system and cause cramps. Freelax is different. It's stimulant-free and cramp-free. It's new, different, it's Freelax.
It works overnight and no cramps. Freelax.
Tomorrow, what troops are facing inside Baghdad. Plus, stopping the global outbreak of SARS. What's being done to save your family from this mysterious illness on World News Tonight.
In other news today, taxes. Sorry about that. April 15th is a week from today. Millions of people have not filed their returns. And based on what we are hearing at the problems of the IRS, there are many people who won't pay. The government now estimates it has failed to collect more than $280 billion in taxes. Here's ABC's Linda Douglas.
The Oversight Board of the IRS says in many cases it is too late to collect those unpaid taxes.
There is a substantial block of funds that are really in excess of 10 years old, and those are the trails are stale, and it's really uncollectible at this point.
The Oversight Board concluded that the IRS continues to be understaffed, and now agents are overwhelmed by a new problem. The number of sophisticated new tax scams is exploding, enabling more taxpayers to hide money offshore. Much of the uncollected money comes from rich people and corporations, though some of it comes from middle-class citizens who cheat on their taxes because they think they won't get caught.
The number of audits have gone down. I think that perhaps as much as anything is giving fuel to this notion that I can cheat, no one will ever know.
Experts say the number of audits has dropped as Congress has demanded that the IRS be more consumer-friendly. The agency has been pressured to devote more resources to answering questions and to use less aggressive tactics to enforce the law.
Congress has to be very careful that in protecting the legitimate rights and important rights of taxpayers, we don't somehow signal that we're protecting the rights of tax cheaters not to pay what they owe.
Some in Congress want to hire private collection agencies to help the IRS hunt down delinquent taxpayers. Under proposed legislation, the bill collectors would keep a healthy percentage of the tax dollars they collect. It's your money. Linda Douglas, ABC News, Washington.
When we come back this evening, the final report on the broadcast, the Portraits of War.
You see an energy crisis crippling a city. We saw a chance to invest in a troubled utility, a bright idea that generated returns for our shareholders and power for the community. Franklin Templeton Investments. Gain from our perspective.
I don't smell him. I'm the only cat left. You know, that Misty always was a prima donna. And Mr. Boots, always cuddling with the humans. What a sellout. What? It's all mine.
You'd never know there were 3 cats in here.
3?
This tidy cat really controls the odor.
Uh-oh. Formulated for multiple cats?
Something stinks.
And it's not the litter box.
Tidy cats. Multiple strength.
For multiple cats.
Hey, Colin, what's with the toolbox?
We got work to do, Ragweed. We gotta start her nose running and her eyes itching. Hey, we're allergens. It's what we do.
See that bottle of Allegra?
Oh, yeah?
It makes this job tough.
Oh, really?
Seasonal allergies live to make you miserable, but Allegra is specifically designed to block the histamine that triggers multi-symptom allergic responses, which may be why it's the #1 prescription antihistamine.
Some job you did. Does that look like suffering to you?
No, actually.
Allegra is for people 12 and over. Side effects are low and may include headache, cold, or back pain. Ask your doctor about Allegra.
Come on, let's go find someone we can really hammer.
Allegra, so much relief for so many symptoms.
A definite edge. Cadillac CTS. Breakthrough.
ABC Tonight. How is Jim's wife discovering his dirty little secrets?
I've got a window into Jim's mind.
Look through that window, all you're gonna see is beer and jelly donuts.
And you'll never guess how she's doing it.
What a delicious little twist to our story.
Catch a full hour of According to Jim after 8 Simple Rules, ABC Tonight.
Are you searching for a job? Then you know how tough it is to find one. Tomorrow, Good Morning America will bring you the newest ideas and the tools you need to help you find the job you want.
Just a brief review of the main story. The U.S. is attacking in Baghdad from the air and in the streets. Meanwhile, intelligence experts are trying to reveal the underground bunkers and tunnels where Saddam Hussein and his regime may be hiding if he's not dead. The U.S. is actually trying to determine if the bombs it dropped in a neighborhood intending to kill him yesterday found their target. And 3 journalists were killed in Baghdad today. Finally this evening, from the picture file. Elated. Their target was Ba'ath Party headquarters. The photographer was injured at the Palestine Hotel. A British soldier carried home by his regiment. The Red Cross says today there are so many civilian casualties in Baghdad that they have lost count. Don't look, just keep moving. Exhausted in Basra. An Iraqi Kurd on the winning side in the north. American graffiti in the upper right-hand corner there. USA 1, Iraq 0. And finally, British soldiers in a full Monty. 1 shower in 3 weeks for many of them. That is our report on World News Tonight. We'll have more on the war throughout the evening on Nightline and tomorrow on Good Morning America. I'm Peter Jennings. Good night.
Why are more and more Americans getting their nightly news from ABC's World News Tonight? Peter Jennings, one of the most measured and methodical news authorities in the business. He's outstanding on his feet. Peter Jennings, he's earned the trust of American viewers. Peter Jennings, no wonder millions of Americans are turning to ABC's World News Tonight.
Tonight, the wait is over.